Good morning all of you. Hope you all are fine. In the last video, we studied about how we hear sound through our ears. The shape of our outer part of the ear is like funnel, and the sound enters in it and travels down a canal at the end of which a thin membrane is stretched, which is called the eardrum, and how the eardrum vibrates and passes the vibration to the inner ear and how the signal reaches to the brain. This we studied in the last video, and let us continue further. Amplitude, time period and frequency of a vibration. We have learned that the to and fro motion of an object is called vibration, and this motion is also called the oscillatory motion, right? Now you have already learned in earlier classes about the oscillatory motion and its time period. The number of oscillations per second is called the frequency of oscillation. See, try to understand this. This is very important definition. You have to learn by heart and do the questions related to this definition, that is frequency. The number of oscillations per second. That means the number of to and fro movement of an oscillation or a pendulum in 1 second, right? So the number of oscillations per second is called the frequency of oscillation. Frequency is expressed in hertz. Its symbol is H small z, right? Frequency of 1 hertz is 1 oscillation per second. If an object oscillates 20 times in 1 second, what would be its frequency? Yes, 20 hertz, correct. You can recognize many familiar sounds without seeing the objects producing. How is it possible? The sounds must be different to enable you to recognize them. Have you ever thought what factors make them different? Yes, amplitude and frequency are two important properties of any sound. Can we differentiate sound on the basis of the amplitudes and frequencies? Yes, we can. The amplitude, time period and frequency of a vibration all can show us how the sound is. Now here is the activity which is telling us how the loudness and pitch can be calculated. Here is activity 13.11. Make a metallic tumbler and a tablespoon. Strike the tablespoon gently at the brim of the tumbler, and what you will see, hear the sound produced. Now bang the spoon on the tumbler and hear the sound produced again. Is the sound louder when the tumbler is struck hard? Now suspend a small thermocol ball touching the rim of the tumbler. Vibrate the tumbler by striking it. See how far the ball is displaced. The displacement of the ball is a measure of the amplitude of vibration of the tumbler. Got it? Now strike the tumbler gently and then with some force. You will see the difference of the displacement of the ball. When you strike it with a low force, then the ball will not raise that much higher when it has been struck with the more force. Compare the amplitudes of vibration of the tumbler in two cases. In which case is the amplitude larger? You will come to know, right? The loudness of the sound. By this activity we can understand that the loudness of sound is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. For example, if the amplitude becomes twice the loudness increased by a factor of 4, the loudness is expressed in a unit called decibel, that is small d capital B. The following table gives some idea of the loudness of the sound coming from various sources. Suppose a normal breathing is there, then it is 10 decibel. Soft whisper, then it is 30 decibel. Normal conversation, then it is 60 decibel. Busy traffic, 70 decibel. And average factory, it is 80 decibel. Above 80 decibel, the sound becomes physically painful. The loudness of sound depends on its amplitude. When the amplitude of vibration is large, the produced sound is loud, isn't it? So, you'll come to know that when the displacement of the wave is more from the center, then it is that vibration is large, and so the loudness is also large. When the amplitude is small, the sound produced is feeble. It's not so high. The frequency determines the shrillness or pitch of a sound. If the frequency of vibration is higher, we say that the sound is shrill and has a higher pitch. If the frequency of vibration is lower, we say that the sound has a lower pitch. For example, a drum vibrates with a lower frequency, therefore it produces a low pitched sound. On the other hand, a whistle has a high frequency and therefore produces a sound of higher pitch. A bird makes a high pitched sound, whereas a lion makes a low pitched roar. However, the roar of a lion is very loud while the sound of a bird is quite feeble. Every day you hear the voices of the children and adults. Do you find any difference in their voices? Can you say that the frequency of voice of a child is higher than that of an adult? Yes, usually the voice of a woman has a higher frequency and is shriller than that of a man. So, we come to know that how the sound is produced and what are the factors responsible for the sound. Now here is 13.6 topic is audible and inaudible sounds. What type of sounds are audible and what are inaudible? We'll study over here. The fact is that the sound of frequency is less than 20 vibrations per second, that is 20 hertz, cannot be detected by the human ear. Such sounds are called inaudible. On the other side, the sounds of frequency higher than 20,000 vibrations per second are also not audible to the human ear. Thus, for human ear, the range of audible frequency is roughly from 20 to 20,000 hertz. Some animals can hear sounds of frequencies higher than 20,000 hertz. Dogs have this ability. The police use high frequency whistles which dogs can hear but human cannot. The ultrasound equipment familiar to us for investigating and tracking many medical problems works at frequencies higher than 20,000 hertz. इसलिए उसको अल्ट्रासाउंड कहते हैं. ठीक है, 20,000 हर्ट्ज से ज़्यादा अगर जो साउंड प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है, इफ़ इट इज़ मोर देन 20,000 हर्ट्ज, देन इट इज़ कॉल्ड एज अल्ट्रासाउंड. राइट? वी हियर different types of sounds around us. Is the sound always pleasing? Does a sound sometimes cause discomfort to you? Yes, some sounds are pleasant to the ear, whereas some are not. Suppose construction work is going on in your neighborhood. Are the sounds coming from the construction site pleasing? Do you enjoy the sounds by horns of the buses and trucks? No, such unpleasant sounds are called as noise. In the classroom also, if all the students are speaking together, if they are making so much of noise, is it pleasing? No, it's disturbing. On the other hand, you enjoy sounds from musical instruments. Music sound is one which is pleasing to the ear. Sound produced by a harmonium is a musical sound. The string of a sitar also gives out a musical sound. But if a musical sound becomes too loud, would it remain melodious? No, we don't like it. So this is called as noise pollution. The pollution like air, some of the gases, unwanted gases in the air are causing air pollution. Similarly, the presence of excessive or unwanted sounds in the environment is called noise pollution. Can you list some sources of noise pollution? Major sources of cause of noise pollution are sounds of vehicles, explosions, including bursting of crackers, machines, loudspeakers, etc. Now, what sources in the home may lead to noise? Can you detect what sources in the home may lead to noise? Yes, television, transistor radio at high volumes, some kitchen appliances, desert coolers, then air conditioners, all contribute to noise pollution. Sometimes even children shouts, their shrilling voice causes the noise pollution. What are the harms of this noise pollution? Do you know? That presence of excessive noise in the surrounding may cause many health related problems. Lack of sleep, hypertension, anxiety, and many more health disorders may be caused by noise pollution. A person who is exposed to a loud sound continuously may get temporary or even permanent impairment of hearing. What is impairment of hearing? You all know what is impairment? Impairment is hearing disability. That is called as impairment of hearing. A person will become deaf by hearing a louder sound for a longer period of time. There are measures to limit noise pollution. What are those measures? What you should do to limit the noise pollution or control the noise pollution? How can this be achieved? For this, silencing devices must be installed in aircraft engines, transport vehicles, industrial machines, and some home appliances. How can the noise pollution be controlled in a residential area? All noisy operations must be conducted away from any residential area. Noise producing industries should be set up away from such areas. Use of automobile horns should be minimized. TV and music systems should be run at low volumes. Trees must be planted along the roads and around buildings to cut down on the sounds reaching the residents, thus reducing the harmful effects of noise pollution. Hearing impairment. Total hearing impairment, which is rare, is usually from birth itself. Partial disability is generally the result of a disease, injury, or age. Children with impaired hearing need special care by learning sign language. Such children can communicate effectively because speech develops as the direct result of hearing. A child with a hearing loss may have defective speech also. Technological devices for the hearing impaired have made it possible for such person to improve their quality of life. Society can do much to improve the living environment for the hearing impaired and help them live normal life. Even hearing impairment devices are being used. Hearing devices are being used for the hearing impairment children or adults. So here we end this chapter. Hope you all have understood. Read the chapter even after explanation, and if you have any queries you can ask your respective subject teachers. Next class we will do question answers, NCERT question answers, and hope you all are taking care of yourselves. Thank you.